The crystal chandelier above cast dancing shadows across the private dining room as Maya's hand trembled against the polished mahogany table. Dominic Valentino's dark eyes locked onto hers, confusion flickering across his usually composed face. The celebration around them, laughter, clinking glasses, congratulations on his promotion to head of the East Coast operations, faded into white noise. "What did you just say?" His voice was low, dangerous. Maya leaned closer, her heart hammering against her ribs. She could smell his expensive cologne mixed with whiskey. Behind him, through the floor-to-ceiling windows, she spotted the red laser, sweeping across the room. Her brother's warning from 10 minutes ago still echoed in her mind. "They're coming for Valentino tonight. If you're anywhere near him, you're dead, too," I said. She swallowed hard, her brown eyes never leaving his. "Get out now." His hand shot out, gripping her wrist with surprising gentleness, despite the steel in his gaze. "You know something?" It wasn't a question. The music from the main restaurant seemed too loud, too cheerful. She had 30 seconds, maybe less, before the first gunshot shattered the window. 3 days earlier, Maya Johnson had perfected the art of invisibility. In her 2 years working at Bellissimo, Manhattan's most exclusive Italian restaurant, she'd learned that the wealthy didn't really see the staff. They saw uniforms, service, convenience, never the person. She preferred it that way. "Table 12 needs their wine," Marcus, the head waiter, called out as Maya adjusted her black vest. The fabric was slightly too tight across her shoulders, but it was the largest size they had. At 26, Maya had given up complaining about uniforms that weren't designed for women with curves. She grabbed the bottle of Burlo, $800 more than her weekly rent, and headed toward the private dining room. Her natural curls were pulled back in a tight bun as required, professional, invisible. The moment she pushed through the mahogany doors, the air changed. 6 men in expensive suits sat around the table, but her eyes went immediately to the one at the head. Dominic Valentino. She'd heard the name whispered by other servers, always with a mixture of fear and fascination. The new boss of the Valentino family, youngest in their history at 32. He was nothing like she'd expected. The photographs in the newspapers, yes, she'd looked him up after hearing the name, showed a hard man with cold eyes. In person, he was devastating. Sharp jawline, olive skin, dark hair precisely styled, but it was his eyes that caught her off guard. Brown, almost black, with an intelligence that seemed to catalog everything in the room, including her. "The Barrow," she said, proud that her voice didn't shake. She knew who these men were. Everyone did. The Valentino family controlled everything from the docks to half the construction in the city. "Let me see it." Dominic's voice was smooth, cultured. He didn't look at her face, just gestured for the bottle. Maya stepped closer, very aware of the other men's eyes tracking her movement. She held out the bottle, and Dominic's fingers brushed hers as he took it. The touch lasted a second too long. His eyes flicked up to meet hers. For a moment, the invisible woman became visible. "What's your name?" And he asked. "Maya, sir." She kept her gaze lowered, respectful. "That's what they taught you. Don't make eye contact with men like this. Look at me when I'm speaking to you." If you're enjoying this story and want to see what happens next, please subscribe to our channel and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Your support means everything to us as we continue bringing these stories to life. Her eyes snapped up. There was no anger in his face, just curiosity, like she was a puzzle he wanted to solve. "Maya," he repeated as if testing how it felt. "You're new to this section." 2 years at Bellissimo, first time in the private rooms. He poured the wine himself, dismissing her with a subtle nod. She should have left. Should have escaped back to the safety of the main restaurant. But as she turned, one of the other men, younger, with a cruel smile, spoke up. "Hey, sweetheart, you single?" Maya's spine stiffened. "I'm working, sir. I ask you a question." The man leaned back, cocky. "Leave her alone, Henry." Dominic's voice cut through the tension like a blade. "I'm just being friendly, boss," I said. Dominic set down his glass with deliberate care. "Leave her alone." The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Henry's smile vanished. He nodded, muttering an apology. Dominic looked back at Maya. You can go. She didn't need to be told twice, but as she reached the door, his voice stopped her. Maya.
She turned.
Yes, sir. You handled that well. A slight smile touched his lips. Most people get nervous around us. You have no idea, she thought, but said nothing. Just nodded and left. Her hands were shaking as she grabbed the service counter in the hallway. Maya had spent her whole life in Brooklyn, had grown up in neighborhoods where you learned to spot danger from a block away. Dominic Valentino was danger wrapped in a three-piece suit and an accent that spoke of old money and older violence. You okay? Vera, another server, touched her shoulder. Fine, just that table. The Valentinos? Yeah, they tip well, but Vera lowered her voice. My cousin's husband worked for them. He saw things, bad things. Maya nodded. She didn't need the warning. She knew what men like Dominic Valentino were capable of. What she didn't know was why her heart was still racing, and it had nothing to do with fear. What did Maya see in Dominic's eyes? Was it just curiosity or something more dangerous? And why did he defend her against his own man? The Valentino family doesn't show weakness, especially not for a waitress. But something about Maya caught Dominic's attention in a way that could change both their lives forever. Keep watching to discover what happens when their worlds collide again. The next day, Maya was reassigned to the private dining rooms permanently. It's a promotion, Marcus insisted, though his expression said otherwise. Better tips, more prestigious clients. I didn't ask for a transfer. Mr. Valentino requested you specifically. You don't say no to Mr. Valentino. Maya's stomach tightened. She thought of those dark eyes, the way he'd looked at her like she mattered, like she was more than invisible. That evening, Dominic came alone. He sat at the corner table, the one with the view of the city lights stretching toward Brooklyn. Maya approached with a menu, her heart doing something complicated in her chest. Good evening, Mr. Valentino.
Dominic.
He didn't look up from his phone. Just Dominic when it's like this. Sir, I don't think Maya. Now he looked at her, and the intensity in his gaze made her breath catch. I requested you because you treated me like a person yesterday. Not a monster, not a meal ticket, a person. Do you know how rare that is? She didn't know how to respond. The honest truth was that she'd been terrified, but she'd also seen something in him. A weariness, maybe, or a loneliness that mirrored her own. What would you like to order? She asked instead. A smile tugged at his lips. Surprise me? You choose. Sir.
Dominic.
Dominic, she corrected, his name feeling strange and intimate on her tongue. I'm a waitress, not a chef. You eat here sometimes. I've seen you on your breaks, sitting in the alley with whatever the kitchen staff gives you. His eyes held hers. You have good taste, I trust it. How did he know that? Had he been watching her? Maya felt heat rise in her cheeks. She had rich brown skin that didn't show blushes easily. Thank God, but she felt the warmth anyway. The Audiobook is excellent tonight. Then bring me that, and whatever wine you think pairs well, he paused. And bring yourself a plate. Eat with me. I can't do that. I'm working. I own 20% of this restaurant.
Consider it a break.
When she hesitated, he added, please, that single word, soft and genuine, destroyed her defenses. 20 minutes later, Maya found herself sitting across from Dominic Valentino, a plate of Audiobook in front of her that cost more than her daily wage. The private room was quiet, intimate, just the two of them and the city lights. Tell me about yourself, Dominic said, cutting into his meat with precise movements. There's not much to tell. You're from Brooklyn. Flatbush. I'd guess from your accent. She was impressed despite herself. Good ear. I grew up in Red Hook. Different Brooklyn, but still Brooklyn. He took a sip of wine. Family? Just my brother Marcus and my mom. But Maya stopped, unsure how much to share.
She's not well.
Early onset Alzheimer's. I'm saving up for a better facility. Something shifted in Dominic's expression. Sympathy, but not pity. That's why you work double shifts. How do you? She stopped. Of course, he'd looked into her. Men like him always did their research. I lost my mother when I was 16, Dominic said quietly. Cancer. By the time we had the money for the best doctors, it was too late. He met her eyes. I understand what it's like to watch someone you love disappear piece by piece. The vulnerability in his voice caught her off guard. This wasn't the mafia boss everyone whispered about. This was just a man who'd lost his mother too young and carried that grief like a stone. I'm sorry, Maya said softly. So am I, he set down his fork. Maya, I want to help with your mother's care.
No.
The word came out sharper than she intended. I don't need charity. It's not charity. He seemed to struggle for words. I don't meet many people who are real. Everyone wants something from me. Power, money, protection. You just want to take care of your mother and live your life. That's refreshing.
You don't know me.
Then let me get to know you. The air between them felt charged, dangerous. Maya knew she should leave, should run back to her safe, invisible life, but Dominic's eyes held a loneliness that matched her own, and something in her recognized it. Why me? She asked. You could have anyone, because when you looked at me yesterday, you saw me. Not my name, not my family, just me. He leaned forward slightly. When was the last time someone really saw you near? The question struck something deep. When was the last time? She'd spent so long being invisible, being the responsible daughter, the reliable employee, the woman who kept her head down and survived. No one looked past the uniform or the circumstances except Dominic was looking now. This is a bad idea, she whispered.
Probably.
His smile was devastating. But I've built an empire on bad ideas. One more won't hurt. They talked for 2 hours. Dominic told her about growing up in Red Hook, about his father's expectations about taking over the family business at 25 when his older brother was killed. Maya shared stories about her mother before the disease, about Marcus' dreams of becoming a graphic designer, about the tiny apartment in Flatbush that felt like home despite its problems. By the time Dominic left, pressing a business card into her hand with his private number, Maya knew she'd crossed a line she couldn't uncross. Call me, he said at the door, not as a customer, as someone who'd like to see you again. After he left, Maya found an envelope on the table. Inside was $5,000 in cash and a note in precise handwriting. For your mother's care, not charity, just someone who understands. She should have returned it, should have walked away. Instead, she tucked the money into her purse and pulled out her phone. Her thumb hovered over his contact information. Before she could think better of it, she typed, "Thank you, but I can't accept this." His response came in seconds. "Then have dinner with me tomorrow." A real dinner not working. Let me earn the right to help. Maya stared at the message, her heart pounding. Every rational part of her brain screamed, danger. Dominic Castana was a mafia boss. Getting involved with him meant stepping into a world of violence and darkness. But when she closed her eyes, she saw the way he'd looked at her, like she mattered, like she was more than invisible. Where? She typed back. The 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. I'll pick you up at 7. Where whatever makes you feel beautiful. Maya set down her phone, her hands trembling. What was she doing? Her phone buzzed again. Another message from Dominic. And Maya, you already are. Maya knows getting involved with Dominic is dangerous. But something about him makes her feel seen for the first time in years. And Dominic, a man who trusts no one, is opening up to a woman he barely knows. What is it about Maya that's breaking through his carefully constructed walls? And what will happen when their 2 worlds, her quiet struggle in Brooklyn and his violent empire, collide? The next chapter reveals a date that changes everything. Maya changed outfits 4 times before settling on a simple black dress that hugged her curves. Her natural curls were loose around her shoulders, something she rarely did at work. She'd grown up with relatives trying to straighten her hair, telling her it was more professional. But tonight she wanted to be herself. All of herself. When the black Mercedes pulled up to her building in Flatbush, Maya's neighbor, Mrs. Campbell, nearly dropped her groceries. Dominic stepped out wearing dark jeans and a charcoal sweater, still expensive, but more relaxed than his usual suits. His eyes lit up when he saw her. You look stunning. He opened the car door himself, not waiting for his driver. You clean up nice yourself, Maya said, trying to hide her nervousness. They didn't go to a fancy restaurant. Instead, Dominic drove them to a small Italian place in Carroll Gardens, the kind with checkered tablecloths and family photos on the walls. My grandmother used to bring me here, Dominic explained as they sat in a corner booth before she passed. It's the only place in the city where I can just be Dom, not Dominic Valentino. And you're bringing me here because I want you to know Dom, not the other guy. Dinner was easy, comfortable in a way. Maya didn't expect. They talked about everything: favorite movies, childhood memories, dreams they'd given up, and dreams they still held. Dominic was funny, she discovered, with a dry wit that caught her off guard. And when he talked about his grandmother, his whole face softened. She was the only one who saw me as more than the air, he said, playing with his wine glass. She used to say I had too much heart for this business.
Do you?
Maya asked. Have too much heart? Some days I think so. He looked at her directly. Other days I remember why I do what I do. My family, my people, they depend on me. The business isn't just crime, Maya. It's protection. It's jobs. It's keeping order in neighborhoods where no one else gives a damn. You're trying to justify it. Maybe. He didn't look away. I'm not going to lie to you about who I am or what I do. I've hurt people. I'll probably hurt more, but I also take care of my own, and I don't let anyone mess with the innocent. Maya thought about her own neighborhood, about how the Valentino name actually kept some of the worst elements away. It wasn't black and white, she realized. Nothing ever was. I appreciate the honesty, she said finally. I'll always be honest with you. That's a promise. After dinner, they walked along the Brooklyn Promenade, the Manhattan skyline glittering across the water. Dominic's hand found hers warm and solid. Tell me something you've never told anyone, he said suddenly. Maya considered lying, keeping herself safe. But something about the night, about him, made her want to be brave. Sometimes I'm angry at my mother, she admitted quietly. For getting sick, for leaving me even though she's still alive. For making me be the strong one when I just want to fall apart. Dominic squeezed her hand. That doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you human. What about you? What's your secret? He was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was raw.
I'm tired, Maya.
Tired of the violence, the constant vigilance, the weight of decisions that determine if people live or die. Some nights I lie awake and wonder if my grandmother was right, if I have too much heart for this life. She stopped walking, turning to face him. The vulnerability in his eyes made her chest ache. Without thinking, she reached up and touched his face. Maybe having a heart isn't weakness, she said softly. Maybe it's what keeps you human in an inhuman world. Dominic caught her hand, holding it against his cheek. Being with you makes me want to be better. Does that make sense? Yes, because she understood completely. He made her want to be braver, to take up space instead of being invisible. He leaned down slowly, giving her every chance to pull away. Maya didn't. When their lips met, it was gentle at first, questioning, then deeper, and she felt something inside her crack open. All the loneliness, all the fear, all the hope she'd kept locked away. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Dominic rested his forehead against hers. I need to tell you something, and he said, and you're not going to like it. Maya's heart sank.
What? There are people who want me dead.
It comes with the territory. Being seen with me puts you at risk. I kind of figured that out. No, you don't understand. He pulled back slightly. My promotion last week. I'm now head of all East Coast operations. That makes me the second most powerful person in the family. It also makes me the biggest target. There's already been threats, attempts to undermine my position. Why are you telling me this now? Because I care about you. The words seemed to cost him. And caring about you means being honest about the danger. If you want to walk away, I'll understand. I'll make sure you're protected, but I won't force you into this life. Maya thought about her safe, invisible existence. Thought about what it would mean to be involved with Dominic Valentino. The scrutiny, the danger, the impossible complications. She also thought about how alive she felt right now, how seen, how wanted. I'm scared, she admitted.
Good.
That means you're smart. He touched her face gently. But if you're willing to try, I swear to you, I'll protect you with everything I have. No one will touch you ever. Before Maya could respond, Dominic's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his expression went cold. What is it? I need to go now. He looked at her, conflict warring in his eyes. Stay at your apartment tonight. I'm putting 2 of my men outside your building. Dominic, what's happening? Someone made a move against my warehouse in Queens. It might be nothing, or it might be the start of a war. He kissed her forehead quickly. I'll call you as soon as I can. Remember, stay inside and don't trust anyone who approaches you. He was gone before she could protest, the Mercedes speeding away into the night. Maya walked slowly to her building, her mind racing. 2 men in a dark sedan were already parked across the street. Dominic's men. She assumed she was in his world now, whether she was ready or not. Later that night, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Her brother Marcus. Maya, we need to talk tomorrow alone. It's about Valentino, please. She stared at the message, dread pooling in her stomach. Marcus had been distant lately, avoiding her calls. She'd assumed he was busy with work. Now she wondered if something else was going on, something that involved Dominic. Everything is happening so fast. Maya and Dominic's connection is undeniable, but the danger is real. Dominic is the target of a power play, and Maya is now in the crosshairs just by being associated with him. But what does her brother Marcus know about the Valentino family? And why is he warning her away from Dominic? The secrets are about to come crashing down in the next chapter, and nothing will ever be the same. Maya met Marcus the next afternoon at a coffee shop in Crown Heights, far from her usual haunts. Her brother looked thinner than she remembered, dark circles under his eyes that matched her own. You look terrible, she said, sitting down. So do you. Marcus didn't smile. Maya, you need to stay away from Dominic Valentino.
How do you even know about that?
He looked away, guilt flashing across his face. Because I work for the Marchette's family. The world seemed to tilt. The Marchettes were the Valentinos' biggest rivals, the family trying to push them out of East Coast operations. What? Maya's voice came out as a whisper. I got into debt. Okay. Marcus's hands shook around his coffee cup. Gambling. I was stupid. They said they'd kill me unless I worked for them. I've been doing their digital work, hacking, security systems, stuff like that. Marcus, they know about you and Valentino. They're going to use you to get to him. Ice flooded Maya's veins.
How?
There's a hit planned 3 days from now. They're going to ambush him at some celebration dinner at your restaurant. They wanted me to hack the security systems, but Maya, his voice cracked. If you're anywhere near him when it happens, you're dead, too. They don't leave witnesses. Her mind raced. 3 days. That was when Dominic's official promotion ceremony was happening at Bellissimo. She had been scheduled to work his private dining room. You have to tell him, Maya said urgently. I can't. The Marchettes will kill me. They're watching everything I do. I'm only meeting you now because they think I'm here to threaten you, to warn you away from Valentino. They want him isolated. So, you're choosing your life over his. I'm choosing your life. Marcus grabbed her hand. Please, Maya, just don't go to work that night. Call in sick. Be anywhere but there. Maya thought about Dominic's eyes, about the way he'd held her, about his promise to protect her, about the vulnerability she'd seen beneath his power. She thought about her brother, desperate and scared, trapped in a world he never should have entered. I can't let him die, Marcus. Then you'll die with him. Maybe, she stood up. But I won't be able to live with myself if I let him walk into a trap. She left before Marcus could argue further, her mind already forming a plan. 3 days later, the private dining room at Bellissimo was decorated elegantly for Dominic's promotion celebration. Maya moved through her duties mechanically, her heart pounding so hard she thought everyone could hear it. Dominic sat at the head of the table, surrounded by his top lieutenants. He'd caught her eye when he arrived, a small smile just for her. She'd wanted to pull him aside to warn him, but the Marchettes had people watching. Marcus had sent her frantic texts. They knew she'd talked to Dominic's security team anonymously, but they didn't know it was her yet. She had to be smart, had to time this perfectly. The evening progressed. Toasts were made. Dominic was officially recognized as the head of East Coast operations. Maya served wine with steady hands, even as she tracked the movement of the other servers. One of them wasn't regular staff. He moved wrong, kept his hand near his waist. Through the window, she spotted the telltale glint of a sniper scope on the building across the street.
It was happening now.
Maya moved to Dominic's side, ostensibly to refill his wine. She leaned down, her lips near his ear. "Get out now." Dominic's hand shot out, gripping her wrist. "What did you just say?" "I said." She swallowed hard, her brown eyes never leaving his. "Get out now. You know something." The first gunshot shattered the window. Everything happened at once. Dominic pulled Maya down as glass exploded inward. His men drew weapons. The fake server lunged forward with a knife. Dominic's lieutenant, Marcus, took the blade meant for his boss. "Go," Marcus shouted, bleeding but alive. Dominic didn't hesitate. He grabbed Maya's hand and ran, pulling her through the chaos. More gunshots, screaming. They burst through the kitchen. Dominic shielding her with his body. His car was waiting. His driver already at the wheel, engine running. Dominic shoved Maya inside, and Devon after her. "Drive," he commanded. They sped away just as more gunfire erupted behind them. Maya was shaking, adrenaline crashing through her system. Dominic pulled her against him, his heart hammering beneath her cheek. "How did you know?" he demanded. "My brother, he works for the Marchettes." They forced him into it. The words tumbled out.
He warned me.
"I tried to get word to your security without exposing him, but I didn't know if they'd believe me. I couldn't let you die." Dominic was silent for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was rough with emotion. "You saved my life. You said you'd protect me with everything you had." Maya looked up at him. "I'm just returning the favor." He kissed her then, hard, desperate, grateful. When they broke apart, his eyes were fierce. "Your brother. Where is he?" "Hiding. The Marchettes will know it was him who leaked the information. Give me his location. I'll get him out. Put him somewhere safe. New identity, new life. My people owe you that and more." Maya felt tears burning her eyes.
Why?
"You don't even know him. Because he gave me you." Dominic cupped her face. "And you gave me my life. That makes him family. That makes him protected." 2 hours later, Marcus was safely in a Valentino safe house being processed for witness protection. The Marchettes' attack had failed, and Dominic's men were already retaliating. It would be a long night. Dominic took Near to his penthouse, a stunning space overlooking Central Park that felt surprisingly warm for a bachelor pad. His grandmother's influence, he explained, the photographs, the comfortable furniture, the sense of home. "You should hate me," Maya said as they stood by the window. The city lights spread below them. "I brought danger to you, my brother. Your brother made mistakes. You made a choice." Dominic turned her to face him. "You chose me, knowing the risk, knowing what it might cost you. Do you understand how rare that is? How precious?" "I was so scared," she whispered. "I know, but you were brave anyway." He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. "Maya Johnson, you've turned my entire world upside down. I don't know what I did to deserve you, but I'm not letting you go ever. I'm a waitress from Flatbush. I'm a man who's been alone for too long. And you're the woman who saw past everything and chose me anyway." His eyes were intense, serious. "I love you. It's too fast, and it's probably crazy, but I love you." Maya's breath caught. No one had said those words to her in years. Not since her father left. Not through all the struggles and loneliness. "I love you, too," she said, and felt the truth of it in her bones. "God help me, I do." They stayed up all night talking and planning. Dominic was honest about the fallout from the Marchettes' attack. There would be reprisals, investigations, power shifts. But he was also confident. He'd survived because of Maya, and that meant something in his world. It meant loyalty, recognized and rewarded. "I'm moving your mother to the best care facility in New York," he said as dawn broke over the city. "And I'm hiring a full-time nurse."
Non negotiable.
Dominic, you saved my life, Maya. Let me give you peace of mind. Let me help carry this burden. She wanted to argue about charity again, but she was too tired and he looked too earnest. Instead, she just nodded against his chest. I'm scared about what comes next, she admitted.
So am I.
He kissed the top of her head. But we'll figure out together. You and me against the world. That's a lot of world. Good thing you're brave enough to face it. As the sun rose over Manhattan, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, Maya thought about how much her life had changed in just a few days. She'd gone from invisible to seen, from alone to cherished, from safe to dangerous. But as Dominic's arms tightened around her, she realized that some risks were worth taking, some people were worth fighting for, and some love was worth everything. 6 months later, Maya adjusted the emerald necklace at her throat, a gift from Dominic, and smiled at her reflection. Her natural curls were styled elegantly around her face, and her dress, a deep burgundy that complemented her skin, was designer, a far cry from her waitress uniform. Ready. Dominic appeared in the doorway of their bedroom in the penthouse she now called home.
As I'll ever be.
Tonight was the charity gala for Alzheimer's research, funded by the Valentino Foundation. Her mother, stable and well, cared for in the best facility in New York, was the inspiration. Maya had poured herself into the cause, using Dominic's resources to make a real difference. She'd also finished her college degree, business management, with Dominic's encouragement and financial support, not charity. He insisted investment in their future. Marcus was safe in California, working as a graphic designer under a new name. He called weekly, grateful, and healing. The Marchette's family had been dismantled, their leadership facing federal charges. Dominic's position was secure, his power undisputed, but more importantly, he was hers. I have something for you, Dominic said, pulling a small box from his pocket. Maya's heart skipped. Dominic, it's not what you think. Not yet. He opened the box to reveal a key. This is to the brownstone in Park Slope. 3 stories garden. Enough room for your mother to visit when she has good days. I bought it in your name. Tears filled her eyes. You didn't have to.
I wanted to.
You've given me everything, Maya. A reason to be better. A future beyond survival. Let me give you a home. She kissed him, not caring that she'd mess up her lipstick. When they broke apart, both smiling, Dominic touched her face tenderly. One day when you're ready, I'll ask you the real question. The one with a different kind of ring. One day, Maya agreed, her heart full. When we're both ready. As they headed to the gala hand in hand, Maya thought about the scared waitress she'd been 6 months ago. That woman had been invisible, lonely, surviving day to day. Now she was seen, loved, thriving, all because she'd been brave enough to lean close to a dangerous man and whisper 3 words, "Get out." Now those words had saved his life, but in the end, they'd saved hers, too.
The end.
Thank you all for following this story. If you enjoyed it, please write in the comments where you're watching from. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video as your support is important for me to continue creating content.